In this video, we're going to start customizing the remaining modules, these horizontal list modules. There are some similarities between these modules. We're going to use the creation of shared styles that we'll look at in a future video. Let's take a look at our example to understand what we need to do so we can see some differences here. We've got this title that has less distance from the smaller flex layout, this padding here. We've also got a bigger body of text over here. We've got a different text color in our modules, it's white. This favorite button also has a different positioning attached to it. The elements down here are in the inverse order. Everything else is pretty much the same. Okay, so let's move on to this module here. In a future video, we'll use shared styles, which will speed things up. Let's turn off the page example and select this text element. I'm going to come here to sizing spacing and we're going to change this padding value. So I'm going to change it to 1 rem. Okay, we're going to check on the page example to see which is the correct copy for this element. Let's select this and close sizing spacing. I'm now going to open this section called typography and I'm going to copy the size value. I'm going to switch the page example off again. I'm now going to select the text element, come here to typography, and in size, I'm going to paste this value in. Okay, done. Let's now come down here to this flex layout and select list horizontal scroll, and then come back to sizing spacing, and we're going to remove this rem value. Okay, so we want this text to be aligned with the flex layout. Let's select this text element, this headline, and let's come here to the doc map. Here it is. So we can see the typography section, and we're going to remove this white color. Okay, we're now going to select the favorite container and alter its positioning. I'm going to come to arrange and change its positioning from related to absolute. Let's add 0 to the top value and 0 to the right value. Our element has disappeared. Let's come up here. We can see the element up here. So this always happens when we apply absolute positioning to an element. The element is positioned according to the closest parent element with relative positioning. This element doesn't have any parent element with this type of positioning. So the element is positioned based on the page body. And that's why it gets positioned up here. So if we want this element to be positioned in the desired spot, we have to select the parent element. In this case, it's the card's headline and favorite element, and we need to add relative positioning to it. Here it is. As we can see, our favorite container went to the correct spot. Let's delete this P3 element, this text here. We're not going to need it. Let's now select the favorite container and come here to sizing spacing, and I'm going to remove its width value. So we want its width to be given based on this favorite button that's dimensions are 30 by 30 pixels. I'm now going to select the favorite container again and I'm going to add a background. I'm going to add a solid white background. Let's now select one of these horizontal scroll elements and then come here to the flex layout, and here in this option we're going to change the dimension auto to 160 pixels. So what we just did was guarantee that all of this horizontal scroll or flex layouts, flex items will always have a width of 160 pixels. To guarantee this happens, we need to activate a setting here with the flex item. To do this, I'm going to select the flex item. I'm going to come here to the view panel to arrange and here to the flex item settings where I'm going to activate the third option, the none option. I did this as these elements come with a default shrink setting defined against them. This allows elements to shrink when there isn't enough room for them. In this case, we want our flex items to maintain a width of 160 pixels to make the scroll bar appear. When we link this horizontal scroll element to a collection, this flex item repeats itself the number of times based on the number of entries within the collection. As you can see, it's super easy, and with that we've finished the customization of this first flex layout horizontal scroll element. In the next videos, we're going to customize the next modules. These modules are similar to this one, and we're going to use shared styles that we'll create based on values we've applied here.